Good morning, everyone. Chelsea here from the Champaign Agency. Hopping on this morning to talk about something that I think people don't realize how often this happens, and that's when you get into an accident and someone else is at fault and they don't have enough coverage to cover your pain and suffering. So that's when your underinsured and uninsured motorist coverage is the most important and kicks in. So, for example, if you're driving in your vehicle and someone runs a red light and hits your vehicle, right, injures yourself and a passenger in your vehicle, and they have low bodily injury limits. So let's say they have 50,000 / 100,000. So what that means is their insurance policy is going to cover up to $50,000 per person, $100,000 per accident. So let's say they get into an accident, they hit you, they run that red light, and your bills are $300,000. That's when your uninsured, underinsured coverage will kick in, since the person who hit you was underinsured, having that 5,100. So that's a super important policy. A lot of times, often, we'll get deck pages from other agencies, other carriers, things like that, and more times than not, people will unknowingly remove that coverage or have low limits, not knowing the importance of it. And that's something that we take pride in here. We want to make sure that you guys are fully aware on what that means, what that covers, give you specific scenarios where that would kick in for you. You can't control other people's coverage, unfortunately. So in the event of something happening, you want to make sure you're covered on your end. You and your passengers are important, right? They're the people that you love most, and then yourself as well. So you want to make sure that that's something that you have on your policy. Again, more times than not, we take claim phone calls, not every day, hopefully not every day, knock on wood. But we take claim calls, throughout our days, throughout the week, and more times than not, our clients are typically not at fault. So that's, again, when this coverage would kick in. If someone hits you and they have low bodily injury limits, that is when or they have no insurance. That's also something that we do see as well. That's when your uninsured / underinsured motorist coverage kicks in. And again, we see it more times than not. People will remove that coverage, have low limits just to get their premium down with lower payments, which, we understand you have to do what you have to do to get by and have active insurance. We totally understand that. But also, that's not something that you want to skimp on or remove from your policy. There's other ways to lower your premium, your payments per month. Always explore like the telematics program, make sure the mileage is correct, things like that. There's other ways, adjust the deductibles. There's other ways to lower your premium versus getting completely rid of a coverage that's very important, especially in Michigan. Even it being a no-fault state, that uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage is very, very, very important. Anytime we don't see that on someone's policy, we cringe a little bit inside because we just know how effective and important that coverage is. So please take a look at your policies. Make sure you do have that on there. If you have any questions, please give us a call. We'd love to go over everything with you, adjust anything if needed, and then we will go from there. Have a good Wednesday. Bye.